Hi, and welcome to another edition of Dad's Divorce Live. I'm Matt Allen, editor of DadsDivorce.com. Today I'm joined by Lenore Skenazy, a columnist for AOL's Parent Dish, and author and founder of Free Range Kids, a book and website about her free-range parenting philosophy. We'll talk with Lenore about free-range parenting and what advice she has for divorced parents who disagree over each other's parenting styles. So Lenore, thanks for joining me.
Oh, thank you, Matt. Happy to be here.
Now, you have this idea of free-range parenting that actually ended up with the media, unfortunately, dubbing you with the moniker America's Worst Mom. So
America's Worst Mom, yeah. Well, you always want a nickname, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. So first off, could you explain what free-range parenting or free-range kids is all about and how it sort of garnered you this national attention?
Well, it's two different things. I'll tell you how I got the national attention was simply that my 9-year-old son a couple of years ago, now he's not 9 anymore, asked me and my husband if we would finally let him take a subway ride by himself. We live in New York City. We let him do it. I wrote a little column about it because I'm a columnist. And like that night, I was called by the Howard Stern Show and the Today Show. Everybody was just shocked that I had let my son take a subway ride by himself, and so I had to go on all these different media defending myself, and the media started calling me America's Worst Mom for me and my husband for letting our son do that. And the reason we let him do it was because we really felt like the city was pretty safe, what he was asking to do was safe, and we trusted him and we trusted our own parenting, that we'd raised him to be okay on his own for a short time. And I didn't realize until we did that, until all the blowback, at how unusual that idea has become. And that's what led to Free Range Kids. I started the website Free Range Kids that weekend, really out of just shock that people thought that I was deliberately putting my son in harm's way, when actually I absolutely love my son and don't want to put him in harm's way. And I believe in, that's why we always had him in a car seat, and he wears a helmet when he rides his bike, and he has a mouth guard when he plays football with his buddies. I believe in safety. I just don't believe that our kids need a security detail every time they leave the house.
And so this free-range parenting, I guess, is that sort of the philosophy, that you don't have to hold your kid's hand everywhere they go?
Yeah, what it is, I mean, if you asked me to say it in a nutshell, and I think you did, and I forgot to, I think of free-range kids as giving our children pretty much the same childhood that we had. Now it sounds like this radical new idea, but my mom would send me out walking to school in the morning without, clutching her chest and hoping that I made it there safely and insisting that the school call and make sure I got there. Right. And my mom, who loved me very much, and my father too, would let us play outside after school and play outside after dinner without questioning every action that they did, whether they were being extremely irresponsible. And they understood that there was, that the world is not a perfect place, and there is some evil and there are some accidents, but in general the trade-off is either keep your kids locked inside all day, which nobody even considered back when I was growing up, or let your kids gradually take on the world, gradually learn how to, you ride your bike and then pretty soon you're riding it to the library, and you walk to school and pretty soon you're making your own play dates. That was just normal back then, and it's considered radical now, and I just call that free-range kids or free-range parenting, as you say.
Now, I want to get into your book, Free Range Kids. It has a section debunking many fears of parents. So what are some of the more common myths or parental fears you hear about?
Well, there's a lot of fear these days about plastic and baby bottles. That doesn't make me so scared. We started putting this BPA into as a plastic hardener in bottles about 25 years ago, and I figure if it was so terrible and if it was turning all these girls or all these boys into girls, there wouldn't be any 25-year-old boys around. But I see them with my own eyes, so I'm not that worried about BPA. I was reading one of the parenting magazines the other day, and it told you everything you were supposed to take with you if you take your baby for a weekend, like to your mother-in-law or to your brother-in-law's house, and it said you should bring a crib because they're not safe on the floor. And I thought, Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They can't fall off the floor. They're already there. I can't think of a safer place as long as you put a couple pillows around.
Yeah.
And it said to bring an inflatable bathtub and to bring faucet covers and to bring twisties to twist tie other people's cabinets. I mean, I think there's a lot of fear that, like, everybody can make a buck off of making you afraid for your children.
Yeah. You might as well
and
just
so there's baby knee pads, there's toddler helmets for when your child is learning to walk, there's harnesses, there's a lot of money to be made by saying that, you know, I once heard that something terrible happened and you don't want that to happen to your child, do you, or are you too cheap?
Yeah.
And then you sell.
Right. On our site, obviously, we deal with a lot of divorced dads, which usually means a lot of single fathers. The topic of parenting problem between exes is a frequent point of contention.
I'm sure it is.
Mom may let the kids ride the subway, whereas dad wouldn't let the kids, you know, walk down the street.
Make a peanut butter sandwich, right.
Exactly. So, you know, without picking sides, what advice would you have for divorced parents who disagree over parenting styles and may not, you know, aren't in the same house to fight over it, but have to do it over, you know, a further
Well, actually,
distance?
there was a post on my blog the other day. It was how does a free-range parent deal with an ex who isn't?
Right.
And since I haven't gone through divorce, I eagerly read the answers because I didn't know what people would suggest. And I think the best answer was, you know, free range is a lot less important than custody. You know, if your ex is going to say, you know, he says he's free range, but he's really quite dastardly and incompetent and doesn't care about our children's safety, and that, you know, works against you in court, it's not worth it. You know, you want to have your children around. So that would be my first thing: is try to keep your ex from being able to accuse you of irresponsibility, right? But secondly, there are so many free-range things you can do that won't seem radical to even the most scaredy-cat judge. You can, you know, if you're afraid to send your kid out on the subway, which I don't blame you if you haven't been on the subway all the time like we are, you know, have your kid make dinner. You know, that's a nice, responsible adult sort of thing that they can gradually learn to assume, and they get the same kind of pride and the actual, you know, it's not just fake responsibility. It's really, they have to put food on the table.
Right.
That's a grown-up thing. The whole idea of free range is giving kids an opportunity like they had until only recently in American society to grow up, to take their place alongside the older, more responsible members. I mean, that's what Boy Scouts is about. As you get older and you grow up in rank, your job is to take care of the younger scouts. And so you don't have to do it in a way that will get your ex's hackles up at all.
Right. Well, Lenore, are there any final words of wisdom you wanted to leave with our viewers?
Yes, I'd just like to say that, again, what I'm advocating in a world that does seem really terrible and scary if you turn on the television is that we recognize that despite the horrors that we see on Nancy Grace, CNN, and Law and Order, we are actually living in safer times than when we were growing up and playing outside. Crime is down. I was just reading a big article on, like, why is crime down? People can't figure out why it's down, but it is lower now than it was in the 70s and 80s. Wow. Even though if you interview people, you know, about 79% of people think that it is less safe now.
Right.
But it's actually safer. And so if you enjoyed your childhood and you appreciated your parents letting you get around and do a couple things on your own, that's something that you should consider giving your children as well after you've taught them the basics of safety, which is your responsibility as a parent too.
Great. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Matt, and good luck to all the dads out there.
Well, thanks. That was Lenore Skenazy, again, a columnist for AOL's Parent Dish and author and founder of Free Range Kids. You can find out more information about Lenore and her book at freerangekids.com. That'll do it for this edition of Dad's Divorce Live. I'm Matt Allen, editor of DadsDivorce.com. We'll see you next time.